Joe, what's up, my friend?
Hey, buddy. Just staying busy. How about you, man?
Good. Went to a comedy show last night. Had a great time at the Improv in Doral. They have like these free shows. I mean, you have
Really?
to buy drinks. You have to buy like $10 worth of drinks per person, but
No, that's
you
never held you back.
no. Yeah, I drink like 3 beers a year. Although last night I had a beer.
Good for you.
So
Good for
yeah,
you.
and the show was awesome. Like really fucking good. Started off with a young guy who was pretty funny. And they had this nice gradual crescendo up to the big act.
Mhm.
I'd never heard of the guy, but he does Comedy Central and some other shit. But he was funny as hell, just offensive, which is how I like my comedian.
What's his name?
Chris. Excuse me, Chris. Let me ask my wife. She'll know. Anyway, funny as hell. Offensive. But really, really funny.
Yeah, I've been kind of working through all the comedy routines of on Netflix and going through some of those. And some people I've never heard of.
Have you
But
ever
some
watched
are.
Ricky Gervais?
I'm sorry?
Gervais. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Ricky Gervais.
Oh,
Gervais.
yeah, I've heard of that name.
Dude. You will on Netflix, you will fall over. Oh my God, why am I choking? Everybody's gonna watch me die live on DeFi Lunch.
It looks like a thyroid tickle.
He is fucking hilarious. He's got a series on Netflix as well that's really funny.
Well, that's where I got all hooked on Bill Burr, on Netflix. I mean, I didn't realize he was Frank in F is for Family, which I don't know if you ever seen that kind of
No,
Netflix.
I never saw it.
If you want to understand the early 70s Rust Belt in America and what the family dynamics were like, I mean, you just got to watch that because there's lots of yelling, stuff like that.
Nice.
And it's just, but it kind of shows you kind of when it just started transitioning, our society and the issues everybody was dealing with. But I didn't know that was Bill Burr. And then I saw him do a couple of routines, and that guy makes me laugh my ass off.
Nice.
I mean, the shit he says, it's like you said, it's not really super outrageous stuff, but he just says delivers it so deadpan that it just, you just bust out laughing. So if you haven't seen him, check him out, dude. If you like to
check him out,
kind of like the stuff it sounds like you might like that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he sounds perfect. Definitely check it out. I can't find the name of this comedian, but if I think of it, I'll let you know. It was Chris something, but he was friggin' hilarious. Just absolutely hilarious. So, let's see what else is going on. What's the market doing, Joe?
Sorry, I haven't really been in there today. I've just been busy on all this other stuff.
Have you heard about this? I have not climbed into the details of it, but have you heard about like some people are saying Credit Suisse is about to implode. Other people are saying, nah, it's not that big a deal. This is not a bad scenario, but everybody's like 2008 over again. And everybody's talking about a credit crisis and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I'm getting mixed signals from the Twitter.
Yeah. I was looking at that too. And I dug in just to see what's going on. I mean, there's there's issues there, of course. The market's screaming. I mean, Dow's up 600, Nikkei futures are up 600. How was Europe looking? Where are we at here? Hold on. Yeah, Europe's up. I mean, they don't go up the numbers we do, but they're cranking. I mean, they're up, half to 1 point. I mean, I was looking at that issue, and it's funny because every time you see somebody talking about that, then the next thing they say is, get ready, Bitcoin. Like all the money's going to come flooding into Bitcoin. I'm kind of like, you're talking about a $500 billion asset, and just the stuff everybody's talking about Credit Suisse, I think it's like a, $2.7 trillion on their balance sheet. It ain't going into Bitcoin, guys. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. And that's what makes me lose credibility. Now, that doesn't mean that these European banks aren't all running on fumes right now, because I think they are. But I think if most of these are, what do they call them? Those GSIB or something like that. It's like it's not like it's kind of
the spreads of the bank's credit default swaps, which provide investors with protection against financial risks such as default, rose sharply Friday. I guess that was the trigger for it.
Yeah, but a lot of people's did. That's the thing. It wasn't just them. So, what I always look at is if you got all their biggest competitors, I don't even know who's still around, like UBS and, all those guys, and they're trying to take them out, then that's one thing. But, don't forget that's a Swiss bank. So, there's a whole bunch of backstopping they'll do behind that bank, just like we do.
Yeah.
So I would be more worried about the British banks, to be honest. If I was looking for something to go down, that's where I would be looking. And they seem to have sort of fixed that. So I'm kind of going to go, yeah, I don't think I'm not going to call it a nothing burger, but, their book has swelled. Their leveraged derivative stuff has swelled. And, that might be going the wrong way right now. But I don't know if it leads to the 2008, the Lehman, Bear Stearns meltdowns and all of that. That was a completely different situation.
Right.
So I'm not looking at it that way, but yeah, you got to stay on top of all of this.
Yeah.
Because, we just saw what like a little UK situation can do. And then we look at like, is that contaminating other areas? I don't know.
But I always look at trade today.
I'm sorry?
Look at my screen. Look at the screen.
I'm pulling over right now. Hold on. Yep. This is MTF.
That's an MTF signal. 8.72% in an hour and 34 minutes on Credit Suisse.
Yeah, you're right, Sean.
Sean said you always got to tell everybody that just listens.
Oh shit! Sorry, go ahead.
He said Credit Suisse ain't going to die. The problem is sovereign debt, not the banks this time around.
Yeah, so look, this feeds directly into DXY appreciation or dollar appreciation. So, all of these other banks, if you've been sitting in cash, U.S. real estate, whatever, you're up 16% this year for doing nothing. But, that 16% is coming from somewhere else.
Sure.
And it is specifically in this sovereign debt issue because our sovereign debt discounts when dollar appreciates. So we borrowed $1 trillion from the Chinese. We're paying back this year 840 billion. So we made 160 B. Right. But everybody else, they don't have that. So, I could see, Switzerland's an interesting example, though, because they're kind of in their, we all know they're kind of an island out there in a lot of ways, for a variety of cultural reasons. But they have tremendous backstop. So that trade you just pointed out there, that would look to me, is that like I don't know when the market's open in Europe. I'm going to say 9:30.
This is 9:40 a.m. our time.
Our time. Okay. So that was all the U.S. guys dumping.
Yep.
So, but then look, it recovers. So that's probably European buying at that point to stabilize the price. And now we're back where we are.
Yep.
So, the sovereign debt thing, yes, it's big. I don't, much like there was a third world debt crisis, maybe in was it the 80s, I think, where, they had taken on a lot of sovereign debt and, they couldn't pay. So there were write downs and all of that. But this one's a slightly different one. So, the one thing also that works is when you look at, I follow a lot of those IIF economists and a few others in the UK, and they point out that actually what's weird is emerging market debt or currencies have been maintaining pace or barely off on dollar appreciation. The ones that are getting crushed are the European currencies.
Right.
So, this is something specific to the environment in Europe right now. All of their dislocations due to energy supplies and things to that effect that they just have to get through. It's not like, I think the Fed opened up the window to the British Bank of England the other day for backstop capital. So it's not like the US doesn't come in to help at that point. But I think we really have to think about Fed interest rates rising causes DXY appreciation. Okay. Because when you go to we talk a lot in high yield, protocols. You see one place is giving you 20%, one place is giving you 2%. You start looking at the 20. That's right. So US is giving what, 6% or whatever. I don't even know the numbers, but let's just say like double what Europe is giving into banks. So capital will flow here. People have to buy dollars. Where does it go? Equities, commercial paper, things like that. So, to me, I think you got a sort of a mirror going on where we're getting the opposite. We're like an inverse with Europe right now. But, this has been going on for a while. Remember in 2008, it's hard to remember all this stuff, but there was a big thing about austerity versus stimulus. And a lot of the Europeans, I'm lumping you guys together, so I'm sorry, but particularly remember the British doing this. You know, the lesson, as we talked about the other day, was about the Japan bubble. And when that cratered and they went to austerity instead of stimulus, and it was a 30-year friggin' slog.
Right.
So, you know, our approach was to just throw it all at them, you know, empty the kitchen sink, fire up the printers, you know, does it really matter? Just throw it out there. You know, and so I don't know what the debate is in Europe right now over, I mean, I kind of saw it a little bit in the, what was his name? The Quasi guy or whatever
Quasimodo.
who released his tax cut. They were calling him something like Quasi or something today in the media, you know, like kamikaze run or whatever. And, you know, that just didn't make any sense because it was like one hand not knowing what the other's doing.
Right.
And so that kind of got everybody thinking, but I don't think Europe's in that shape for some reason. I kind of think the European banks, not the British banks, are in, you know, they'll be saved.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
if somebody can add more to that debate, I would love to hear it on austerity versus stimulus. But I think the evidence is there that it's stimulus. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Sean says the euro dollar system is the root problem here. All of those offshore dollars outside of U.S. regulation, in my opinion, clusterfuck on the way. Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we know a lot of U.S. corporations keep all the money offshore so they don't have to pay taxes on it. And they bring it back and they get some special thing approved and they get, 7% tax, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's starting to be cleaned up, but yeah, XBT's right, man. There's a lot of offshore money floating around Europe and I haven't seen, it's in dollars. So I don't think it's, when it comes back, it's not going to result in more dollar buying. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, we're all drunk on fucking stimulus money for the last 14 years, and it has to come out. But, you know, you have to also expect that if shit goes dire, they're going to flip the switch and go back QEing again and firing up those printers. Because this isn't like nothing's going on in the world. I mean, there's a lot of big macro geopolitical things going on that are turmoiling the markets. So to me, I think everybody's sitting there ready to backstop, but I think the U.S. is just trying to get a little more room so they have room to cut if they have to. Yeah. But meanwhile, in the background, I don't know if this fits into to XBT's point, but you know, the Fed is still paring down the balance sheet every month, you know, 95B. And, you know, to me, when those roll off, that extracts like $1 trillion of potential lending or investment capital out of the capital system in the U.S.
Right.
So I think that's going to have them, you know, it's a lagging thing again. But to me, I think that's going to have much more impact on, you know, what we can do in the next crisis than hiking rates up and killing the economy.
Makes sense.
But one person's opinion, there's another 50 bazillion out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sean said more dollars offshore than onshore, and all those offshore dollars are printed as the result of collateral that is.
Okay. Yeah. So they're levering up. You know, I told you about those kind of esoteric financial instruments that I was involved with a ways back, where they were doing the stuff with third world debt, and they were packaging up and issuing euro bonds for 90 cents on the dollar, and then selling them in New York for like 99, and just doing that all day long. So my guess is there's probably some exotic instruments out there that are using the actual sovereign debt coupon rates as some type of play on which way currencies or interest rates or economies are going. And, you know, that would make sense. Just like, you know, we spin stuff up amongst multiple protocols, you know, that's what happens here. So all those offshore dollars are sitting there being bundled up into things that can eke out, you know, another quarter point, another half point, you know, because remember, these are billions and trillions of dollars. This is not, you know, a Madoff size thing or a Terra size thing. This is like massive orders of magnitude larger. But yeah, definitely we need to look more into that, the euro dollar system, Sean.
Yeah. I just messaged Sean because I forgot I promised him that I would message him to get him on this week to talk about lightning and shit. So big news. Kim Kardashian had to pay a fine equal to, I think, like 14 seconds of her income stream. SEC fined her for $1.26 million for unlawfully touting a crypto security, Ethereum Max, because she did not disclose that she was paid $250,000 to promote it, which maybe at the time, I don't remember when it was, maybe at the time she wasn't worth billions of dollars. I don't know, but $250,000 just seems kind of stupid level money for her, for what she makes.
Well, for what does she have, like 100 million followers?
Yeah.
I remember Paris Hilton was tweeting stuff out before clubs and getting like 40 grand for one tweet. It was some like club opening in Orlando, Florida or something. You know, it's like,
yeah, it was Ethereum Max, but they don't say when. But Gensler released some cheesy ass fucking.
Yeah, it was. Look, let me jump in before we go down this. I don't look. This is all about just disclosing it. If she had just said at the bottom, I was paid $250,000, nobody reads that shit. If she just said I was paid $250,000 to talk about this, and I tweeted out, she'd be okay.
Yep.
I mean, I don't mind the crypto influencers because I think everybody knows what's going on there. But when people like this, and I'm not picking on her because obviously there's a bazillion people doing this. They're fans. I mean, it's like they're fucking, a demigod or something like that. Their fans believe it as the absolute truth and follow them because they aspire to be them. So I think that's what he's trying to say here is, look, these are actors. They aren't financial experts, or they don't know what they're talking about. They just like it. Like we talk about stuff. We like it.
Right.
So, but nobody says, nobody's paying us to say shit. It's like, so I think, he's just trying to say, huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, if they did, I would say it up front.
Of course.
But so I don't mind this message. I mean, I'm tired of looking at him. I think is one thing I agree with you on. I'm tired of looking at this guy. But I think that this is sort of what the SEC is supposed to do. You want to talk about protecting Main Street investors. I mean, this is what kind of shit they're supposed to do. Whether it works, whether it's right.
I'm all for these enforcements. I am absolutely 100% for these enforcements. And
because they're not developers either. They're promoters.
Yeah. And going after and nailing, bad projects, scammy projects and scam productions and promotions, I'm totally 100% on board with. I thought this video was freaking hilarious though. They went in for the whole
the Bachelor pitch
stock footage production. Gary's dropping the Kim Kardashian name to get that big PR push, wants to be seen to be doing something. I
mean, look, they gotta do stuff, but somebody else said it. It was one of the guys I dialogue with on Twitter. He was talking about when she did the private equity deal, with Carlyle, I think. Yeah, Carlyle Group, which is, I mean, as blue chip old money as it gets right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And so she goes in with them to surround herself with advisors. Well, this is why, I like that deal, because they would have never let this tweet go out talking about anything they were doing. They just won't allow it.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of famous and super smart people need to always remember, that you got to surround yourself with people that keep you out of trouble. And I bet Do Kwon's wishing he had done that about now. It's like you need them because they're a pain in the ass. I can't stand them myself either, because they're always telling you no. And then you got to say, well, I'm doing it anyhow. Yeah. But, at least you know what's going on then.
Yeah. I would just say this, that, probably about 3 people that are Kim Kardashian fans also follow Gary Gensler in the SEC. So not.
Or their dads do. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. No, you're not following. I was wondering if I was. I don't think I'm following him either, but.
Oh yeah.
This says right there, follow Gary Gensler. Or are you not logged in?
What's that?
On your tweet?
No, I'm logged in. I think I do follow him. Oh shit, I don't. Oh, now I will.
Oh, there's our show notes. Brad follows Gary Gensler.
Well, I already should have been. Huh? I already should have been following him. I'm surprised I wasn't. That's kind of weird.
I must be, because I always see their stuff.
Oh, I'm following the SEC, just not him. That's why. Okay.
Yeah, let me see if I'm following him.
This was hilarious. This is somebody with some balls, man.
What's this one?
This guy. So the feds busted a guy. I don't know who it was FBI. They don't say. Anyway, they busted a guy. They got his wallet, and it had like $300 million worth of, I don't know, 713 tokens. Oh, 713 tokens worth $5 million on a hardware wallet, right? And all of a sudden, this guy he was busted for laundering $311 million through crypto transactions. But suddenly the feds are watching this wallet, and all the money is like getting drained out of it.
I wonder who has the seed phrase.
His brother.
Really? His brother?
His brother has the seed phrase, and I guess that's what it was, and starts draining the fucking wallet. So then his brother cuts a better deal to bust his brother for stealing the money from the feds.
To get himself out of the hookie.
Yeah.
Good God, man. I mean,
what kind of balls do you have to fucking drain a wallet that the feds have?
Yeah. I mean, you don't think they're going to find that off ramp pretty fast? And it's going to be 20 guys kicking your door in.
Dude, it's fucking nuts.
But why would he steal from his brother? That's what I don't get.
Stealing from his brother. His brother was already arrested in prison, and he was probably trying to get the $5 million out either for himself or to protect his brother, right? Like if the evidence isn't there, if the tokens aren't there, maybe he thinks, but you know, it's not like the transactions aren't tracked. We know that now. But for whatever reason, he drains the wallet. And then of course, yeah, the feds come kicking the door down, and now we got both brothers.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm just going to put a nice word out there, and it's just called stupid. Just stupid, man. I just don't. I mean, how stupid is this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, he knows his brother's in jail.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's going to get away with this. I mean,
I know.
That's just like, you know, look, you get what you pay for, basically. And I think this guy's probably going to. Did this guy get time too?
I'm sure. I'm sure. And there was something else.
It's kind of like, it's probably obstruction too, because, you know, it's like if you get queried in something and then you go into your phone, I mean, by a law enforcement person, and you go on your phone and start deleting shit, that's obstruction.
Yeah.
You know, they'll throw you in jail for longer for that
exactly
than what you ever did. If you lie to them, that's obstruction. I mean, go ask Martha Stewart how that worked out. And hers was so gray. It didn't look real, you know, fibby, maybe white lie, but not like explicit.
Like borderline. Yeah.
This shit is going to just crush you.
Shizzy said, if you bought ETH Max, that's the one Kardashian was shilling, you know what you were doing because it was hard to buy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that is very
I didn't know that. Good point.
Eamon says, good thing he didn't violate sanctions and send it to a mixer. Got to keep it in the family. So this is another influence. It's influencer day. So, you know, Mr. Beast, right? He's got like 100 gazillion followers. He has all these products he makes a fortune from. He's just a guy that creates really fun, creative videos. I mean, he's actually very entertaining, not the standard sleazy influencer, right? So he's telling a story that early on in his career, he had made like his first $2 million, right? And he put it all in Bitcoin. And his apartment or house gets robbed, and they take his computer. They take his notebook computer, and on the notebook computer, he's got a sticky note that says Bitcoin private key with his private key with $2 million something worth of fucking Bitcoin in the wallet, right? So he's in like a full-blown panic. Well, evidently the guys that robbed him didn't know what the fuck a Bitcoin private key was, because they didn't drain the fucking Bitcoin private wallet. And he was able to get his shit back because he had the same sticky note on his desktop computer that they didn't steal when they robbed his house. But it's like fucking hilarious.
It is funny. You know, I sort of don't know if I'd be out admitting that I was keeping my thing on my laptop. That might be
make you a target.
Emphasize you as, also it might make you look not too crypto savvy in my mind.
Yeah, he's definitely not crypto savvy yet, or maybe he is now. But I just thought he probably would never get robbed, whatever. But it's obviously a cautionary tale. But I mean, this guy now, he could give a shit about $2 million.
It's human nature, though. You know, I'll tell you a story from This is one of Uncle Joe's analog stories.
All
But
right.
do you remember in the olden
Wait,
days
I need
when
music, Joe.
what?
Go ahead.
No, do you remember in the olden days when people would have a Rolodex? You remember
Yes.
Rolodex?
Yes.
It was a little thing you had, for everybody who doesn't know. You had it on your desk, and it was a little like file system of paper, and you would flip to A, and there'd be everybody you knew it was A. You'd write their phone numbers on it, or staple a business card to it, and that was your Rolodex. Well, it was pretty much common knowledge back then that, some of the people I worked for, you would want to know how to get information from other places, let's say, not US. And so you would be looking for the combination to a safe. And so what was taught was that the first place you look was in that Rolodex on the secretary's desk. And you go to S and you look at the first one, and it's going to safe combination.
Oh, shit.
8 out of 10 times written down. So to me, the fact that these burglars couldn't read, I guess, or something.
They didn't even know what a private key was.
Or they were so psyched to get that, looks like one of my, is that $1,000 laptop? They forgot the 2 million.
Exactly.
But this is it's just sloppy. I'm not picking on this guy. I'm just saying, got to remember not to be sloppy. Shizzy loves the music. But, that's what people do. We don't trust our brains, and we don't trust we're going to remember where it is. So we do something where we can know where it is. But that place you pick to put it, where you know where it is the place where 80% of the people put it.
That's right.
So the bad people know where you're thinking to put it.
Yeah.
And so, you don't put it in any of those places. So, to me, what I like the best is if you're going to write it on a piece of paper, pick a book. Well, I don't know if people have books anymore, but, we used to have books. I have bookshelves with books on them and stuff, hundreds of them. You put it inside one of those books and you put it back on the shelf. And then, you know which one it is because you're picking something you liked that they'll have no way to get insight on because it's not in the digital world. Yeah. You read it in analog. So nobody will be able to get
rapping Uncle Joe.
Oh yeah, I want to give a shout out for the original rapper Coolio, who unfortunately passed away last Friday. I don't know if you guys remember Coolio, man. This was back when rap was not in the white suburbs. It was like, inner city music. And it was just it was the NWA and all that kind of stuff. It was just sort of fun.
Yeah.
Now it's commercial like everything else, but
Our
well, I'll let the story end since people are getting a little bored at this point.
Shizzy said birthday cards, put it in birthday cards and then keep all the cards together. Yeah, or just, get a fucking safe deposit box.
Yeah, but also make multiple copies. If you burn your house down, you're going to be really pissed off.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Like Brad says there, somewhere else. Another one is relatives' houses in their picture frames behind a picture.
Yeah.
Like your grandma's house.
Yeah.
The picture of you in there, put it behind that picture. And if you ever need it, you never go back, but if you ever need it, there it is.
Yep. So there was a shit ton of rumors last week and this weekend about Nexo being on the edge. So I told you the story about my sister-in-law, the father of her child passed away of a heart attack, and he had a good amount of crypto in a few places, wallets and Nexo, and unfortunately Celsius, which is locked up in bankruptcy. I made her get out of Nexo this weekend because that one looks a little scary. But speaking of which, look who took $10 million just before he froze the customer accounts at Celsius.
Well, I mean, got to get your lawyer money, right? What was it? His account? Titanium
plates buried. Yeah, those.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Was it his account?
I don't know. He withdrew 10 million from the firm.
He probably just bonused himself.
It was pre-planned and linked to his estate planning.
Oh yeah, so there's always, if you ever look at a lot of these investment agreements, there's a clause about assigning or no assignment. And it'll say, you can't assign this agreement to anybody else. But what you can always get away with is putting in a sentence like that, except for estate planning purposes. Yes, so then when the shit's hitting the fan, you got to get it out. You form a trust up for your kids and you start moving shit in.
Exactly.
But have that ready beforehand, because it gets a little sus if you're doing it all up before lunch.
Set up the trust. Yeah, well, that's exactly.
Yeah.
Lido, stETH has hit peg again. It's back to peg. So that's good news. We talked about that several weeks ago, and that it was off peg and it was an arbitrage opportunity, et cetera, et cetera. It has regained its peg. So everybody that bought at the discount, you can dump and then help it lose its peg again.
Wait, but is this stuff all locked, or is this?
This is the staked ETH.
Still locked,
this
right?
is your derivative token, right?
Okay.
So you stake, you get this token to represent what you staked.
So they really can't sell. I guess they could sell the stETH token, right?
Yeah, remember we were looking at Curve. You could sell the token. You can.
Yeah, no, I do remember, but I'm getting it confused with ETH. I saw ETHW was up like 100% last week or the week before, and I was
like, yeah, whatever. Fuck those guys.
I'm just trying to remember where all the distribution is going to come from, or the supply for market.
So they're not taking any Americans right now, but I really, everything I look at tells me I should be living in New Zealand. Just quick news that Binance is launching offices in New Zealand because they received regulatory approval to operate in New Zealand. New Zealand is the country supposedly the safest from global warming and sea rise, and is a beautiful place. And everybody I've ever met from there in business is just a wonderful, sweet, friendly human being. So I think I want to end up in New Zealand, Joe. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but
Kiwis are good people, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I've run into a bunch, the sailing stuff in the past, and they're just fun, and they're low key. They're not, they're just not like loud and stuff, and they have a beautiful countryside.
Yeah. It's incredible there.
Yeah. It's just, I've been to Australia and Fiji, but I've not been to New Zealand.
Yeah. I have not, and I want to go.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. T-Mobile is launching an Ethereum validator, providing staking support, and going to let T-Mobile customers stake Ethereum.
Interesting. I mean, aren't they the ones that did the deal with Helium too?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're making some big moves. I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't see this coming.
This is a big, impressive move. This is, to me, huge. Deutsche Telekom is going to run validator support for staking. Its T-Systems Multimedia Solutions division is working with Proof of Stake Act Stakewise to operate a pool, allowing customers to take part in validating transactions without having to run a validator themselves, which to me is that's pretty astounding. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Because that basically lets normies and newbie trade fight people come in. And I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, Cryptopia. Yeah, I got a few shekels over there, but
I still have some there too, but I didn't even bother to claim it. It's like,
fuck that shit. It's not worth the hassle.
Because you have to go back and redo stuff from 5 years ago. It seems like. So.
Yeah. In a major attempt on the life of irony, Jerome Powell calls out DeFi for its lack of transparency.
But honestly, when these guys look at shit like that, they're just looking at like Terra, and they're going, "Holy shit, this DeFi stuff doesn't work." It's not like they're looking at the stuff that you're looking at or I'm looking at.
Yeah.
If they saw some of the stuff that we're looking at, I don't want to name anybody in particular, but who we talk about. I mean, that stuff is innovative. That stuff has real world, big time applications. So in big finance and in big risk management, those are the things that I think are cool, and they just don't see it. They just see
here's the sad thing, right? The head of the Federal Reserve should have some basic understanding of the fact that every transaction on the blockchain is there to be seen, right? The things that are not DeFi that caused all of the downpour, the cascades recently were not decentralized. They were centralized, right? So
they weren't really DeFi either. That's
exactly. That's the whole point.
But they called themselves DeFi.
But the chairman of the Fed should at least understand that the blockchain isn't. So I think I think he has to have had at least some education on how it works. Shizzy said, "I just heard that UN calls on the Fed and other central banks to halt interest rate increases." So that's interesting. I'm assuming it's kind of some humanitarian thing, whatever, but because of all the people that are going to lose their jobs, whatever, but who knows? Joe, you pushed this up, 17 new projects with no tokens, which is fascinating to me because I'd love to know kind of what their models are going to be. But maybe what we'll do is we can you and I can take a look at the list and come back and see if you and I can maybe pick out one or two each and come back and another show in a couple of days, we can take a look at some of these.
Yeah, or also, look, this all came, I did that one tweet out about that one pick where I think Adam and Aptos, and I think their big 3 pick was like, no, I'm sorry, Arbitrum and Aptos, and those two airdrops looming, and then another one I can't remember. But, so that was when I sent out, just because we talk about Arbitrum, and we do talk about Aptos a little bit. And then, of course, I start seeing all these other ones in my feed. So I was like, oh, 17 tokens or 17 no token, let's share that one too.
Yep.
But I think I think this is good, because I think this is what people really want to, we can assess these for tokenomics and execution, and who they are and what they're doing. Oh, does the concept sound cool? Yeah. But that's about all we can do at this point. Exactly. And then everybody, like you do on Kanto and others, you go beta the network or whatever.
Yeah, give them a shot, give them a run,
and help.
Give them a test.
And then, you're in there when it comes time. But the Arbitrum one and Aptos had very specific instructions to follow. To get that airdrop, or what would get you the airdrop. So
here's one. So is this a blockchain game? I guess it is. Soba is a no-code multiplayer game builder, and it says the best part is you can do all of it on your phone. They raised $13 million in a seed round by FTX. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a Roblox builder, similar thing, but better graphics. Wow, that's interesting.
So everybody give that to your kids. Let them play on it.
I'm gonna make my son go.
Heck yeah, I'm telling him he'll give him 20% of the drop.
10.
10%. Sorry. Yeah, let's get him into the agency model first. Let's not spoil him young.
Anyway, let's take a look at these at some point and come back and talk about them.
Absolutely.
I'll look at Soba, definitely. So here's a shocker. Over 12,000 cryptocurrencies have 1 month of no trading volume in 2022.
Jeez.
Wow,
yeah.
Who could have guessed?
I did. I was on, full disclosure, I bought some Genomes DAO today.
Oh, yeah. You've been hyping that.
Well, I hadn't done anything yet. And I saw their stuff come up. I like what they're doing.
Yeah,
I don't know them.
It's a great team. Great team.
But I don't know them personally, but I do follow what they're doing. I know what they're trying to do. And so, I was deciding, well, shit, I should go buy some today. And it's on ETH. I thought it was on Polygon. It says Polygon, but it ends up taking you to ETH anyhow. But what I notice is gas fees are cheaper.
Oh, now. Yeah, significantly.
I mean, it only costs like $7.
Yeah.
ETH
I
to do
did
the
a
trade.
transaction yesterday that was even less.
Yeah, so I mean, look, obviously we know on Polygon and Phantom you can do it for a micro penny, but the fact that you can do it on ETH that cheap, I was actually surprised. What I'm getting at, I looked at the trading volume, and yeah, it's not. These smaller ones, they're just not getting the volume right now, because there's just not a lot of capital going down that deep yet. Yeah. But be patient; it'll come.
I think they're screaming out for a verticalized roll up.
Yeah, look, I mean, because we were involved along with Encryption and Luna and Nebula and Shavom and all those first wave of various DNA monetization type privacy plays, varying degrees of privacy. And this one seems to have got some good stuff in there. And I just like it because they're in the UK, which is where Encryption was. So, I'm familiar with that environment in genomics and what they're trying to do. Plus their NIH is, the biggest data repository of health data in the world. So to me, I think, these anonymizing type things, because remember the encryption model was to take all of that data and fold it around your genetic sequence to give context to everything. And so I think these guys are uniquely positioned to, if they go to do something interesting. Now, the reason I say it, the market cap's like 47,000. So,
yeah. Well, look, I mean, here's the thing. These plays like this, if they can last through this round, right? This downtime, they're going to be beautifully positioned, right? It's going to be arduous. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be painful, but I love your bet, Joe. I think it's a smart fucking bet, because I think it's smarter because I've met the team and was truly blown away. This is the I'll put this in the show notes, but this is the episode where I interviewed them. Really, really impressive team. Like, got their shit together, know how to run a business, know how to understand the science. I mean, and very ethical, privacy focused. Just I'd highly recommend listening to this episode. These are really good guys and they're very impressive. So and this is the kind of play that for me is one of those long-term ones, because I know this market hasn't heated up enough yet for DNA data yet from a consumer perspective, but it will. And once people understand that they can own their data and make money on it, and how much, the other guys are making money on it, they're probably going to say, wait a minute, let me get my data out here and let me go sell it in this marketplace, especially if we're in a recession. So and here's the beauty of it. Drug and pharmaceutical research isn't slowing down. Biotech money is piling into fucking biotech right now. These are all long-term plays. They're investing in things that'll take years to produce. That means all these pharmaceutical companies and other companies are going to need genetic data, right? Yep. So they're at this beautiful position of biotech still ramping up. And this is, I don't mean that we're in a beautiful position of having a recession. We're going to have a recession, and people are going to be looking for new ways to make money. Consumers, average people, when they find out that there is a market for their genetic data and that pharmaceutical companies pay a lot for that, those are kind of like a perfect storm thing that can really drive growth for this project. So I really like it.
And then on the other side, top down, remember that this is yes, exactly, Niblets. I'm sorry.
What did he say, Joe?
He's saying privacy is the keystone for putting your genomics to work. Without it, you risk, quote, pre-existing condition, end quote, denials from insurers. Now that's a very important point, because, look, there are markers in your genetic code. I'll give you one. It's kind of humorous. There's a gene that will predict if you're likely to have an affair. And it absolutely is spot on. And it relates something to restlessness and never being satisfied or something like that. But it's, if you know that.
Fear of commitment gene.
Yeah. What if all like the brides or the grooms were running DNA checks on their soon-to-be betrothed?
Probably should.
And then, pulling the plug. I mean, we know the odds. It's 50-50 on your first go. It starts going down fast after that, as I can attest to. Second one, 70%, just because you're like, what the fuck? I already did it once. I can do it again. And that's why people throw in the towel faster. Yeah. The first ones, people stick it out. They grind it out.
Yeah.
I know people who've been married 62 years.
You went like what, 3-4 months, right?
No, I think I got to. I was in the years category. All right, I don't get bored that fast. Okay.
I'm just playing with you.
No, I know. But so you think about it with like serious health conditions.
Yeah.
You can think Gattaca type stuff. Again, great movie to watch if you haven't seen it yet. Gattaca, Gattaca. In that this can be used to discriminate against you, and they won't underwrite you for certain things. So you got to hide that data from everybody else, and they're all going for it. 23andMe, Ancestry, all that data is gone now, guys. I don't give a shit if you opted out. It's already been put in the system.
Yeah.
So, to me, what I'm getting at top down, personalized medicine space.
Wait, real quick on that point, Joe.
Yeah.
Everybody go into your 23andMe account and go find the privacy and security settings and check the box that says you're not permitted to sell my shit.
Yeah.
That keeps it private. You can download it and you can use it with products like this and own your data. So make sure you go to 23andMe privacy settings and check that box that 23andMe can't make any more money off of you.
And look, and also I think they will delete too, because they're in California.
Yeah.
So California Privacy Act is, not quite as strict as GDPR, but it does.
Is true of all of them. Ancestry.com, all of those guys, go in there and protect your data. They have to let you protect it.
So you can download your data, and then I think you can go to guys like GenomeStyle and deploy it into their platform.
Exactly.
And then you have a trusted person caretaking it for you.
And the other side of that, though, is that the 23andMe data is nowhere near as comprehensive as the test kits that Genomes and the other ones offer you to take. And if you really want your data to be valuable and you want better insights into your data, you should definitely take a look at that as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's most of 23andMe, I think, is SNP sequencing, SMP. And it's like, I think it's less than 2% of the genome. Obviously this used to be very expensive. The Human Genome Project, which I think was about $4 billion, was the first sequence. And then it's gone down, and Illumina keeps making, if you're looking for an equity pick, Illumina is one to look at, guys, but it keeps driving that cost down. And they're at, I think, $200 a sequence now for whole genome. Now that's just there's different levels there, but that's what you want, the regular old whole genome sequence, because that's what people want to see information on. So, but remember, final point, Goldman Sachs forecasts the personalized medicine space to be a $30 trillion market by 2035-ish. So, that just means that doctors will look at your genes and your sequences, and when they'll design drugs, like if you have cancer or something, that are most optimal for your genetic profile. Yep. So, like when you look at breast cancer, there's some buddies of mine in NIH like 18 years ago, what was called proteomics back then, but there's a dot pattern for when you sequence these tumors. There's a specific dot pattern of each one. And so they're all different, and they respond to different pharmaceutical compounds. So wouldn't you want to get the one that works the best with your genetic system? Yes, that's personalized medicine, and that's where it's going to go for everybody. So, you're not going to, the amount of people that get prescribed the wrong medicine or get the wrong kidney taken out or die in a hospital, if you ever saw those numbers, they're just appalling that happens in this country. Yeah. So this allows you to take control of it, take control of your healthcare, and make the money yourself, a side gig like Uber without having to go anywhere.
Absolutely. Joe, it's time to wrap it up.
Shit, we're already done?
We're already done.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was a quickie. That was a good
retail kits often contradict each other.
Well, and look, I mean, Niblet says, I read that retail kits often contradict each other. So like Fox News, it's still for entertainment purposes only, which Fox News will tell you. You should never treat what they broadcast as news. And I agree with him to those retail kits. The kits that the folks like Genomes and others are doing now are the real deal. They're like full-blown medical grade testing kits. So there is the simpler ones, and you're right. It's it's like you can't really, if you take this genetic profile and go to your doctor and show it to them, they aren't really supposed to. I don't think that they really can use that in any of their treatment guidelines at this point. Still, I mean, that was a couple of years ago, but probably still not. Well, like, look, I think you could say, look, it looks like I have the marker. Can you run further tests? Right. And then, I think that gives them an impetus to say, oh, well, there's an existing test that could point to them having the marker for early onset, whatever. And then you can look for it and do further research. Or if you're having symptoms of something, that might be a pointer as well for the doctor, right? The doctor can look through that and say, oh shit, he has this pointer and this pointer. All right, let me check out this that also causes these symptoms, right? So it's a way to, it's at least a detective tool.
You're right. But Niblitz's point is accurate too, because the retail kits have varying types of quality. So what would happen is, like a group that I was on the board or the advisory board for out in California, Myriad Genomics, they had their own sequencing machines. So they run a whole bunch. They're like kind of incubating this personalized medicine tech. So if anybody's interested, you should go check them out. But run by Jay Goth, Goth, good guy. But you want to have that best data. So you would go through like, I was in their lab, Macrogen up in the DC area, Korean company, state-of-the-art equipment, thorough. You get that sequence when you really need to know, by one of the top dogs, and you pay more for it. But that's now. 10 years, everybody's going to have it, and it's going to be like a nano ledger of some kind, where you have the keys to it, and you never disclose unless you want to, and you get paid to disclose or share. I mean, that's where it's really going, because it is data. Yeah. So absolutely. Good job, Genomes DAO. I didn't want to say encryption or something. I was like, wait, who? No.
Hey,
but I love
if you haven't yet,
you can tell.
Every day we get a few more new members. We don't have a lot yet. We got 22, but everybody get over to Reddit. We're having some good discussions starting to heat up. Please add your comments and thoughts there. Really would love to have you be a part of it. And I really love having these discussions in Reddit because it's much easier to manage and keep track of. Discord is a shitstorm, and Telegram's good for one-off chats. So is Discord, but this is a great place where you can have time to think and get back to it. I posted my top 10 blue chips list. I've still got to post my other top 10 lists. Dennis posted an awesome top 10 any NFT projects that he likes. I posted my top 4 NFT based projects, but he went off, man. Like so many good fucking projects in here. You know, our buddies at Uplift are in here and Nova Rally's in here. But the other thing that his list will do, it's going to expose you to the Wax ecosystem, which is really fast, really powerful, has a shit ton of NFT activity and gaming activity, but nobody knows about it. So, I mean, except there's a passionate community there, but there's a lot of opportunity for growth there. So go check it out. Take a look. Anyway, go to, this one called Top 10 or Favorite NFT Projects. We've just got a lot going on over here. It's starting to pick up. So I'd love it if you guys could get over there. Please give us a quick review on Apple Podcasts. If you have not subscribed yet on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to click the little bell so you get notified when the next episode has hit the feed. As well, you can also subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app. Just search for DeFi Lunch and Mission DeFi. Subscribe to one feed to get 2 shows. It's a twofer, Joe. We love you. We appreciate you. Niblets, Sean, Shizzy, Eamon, Euphoric, everybody that has participated and helped out and provided feedback and comments here and in the Reddit. We love you. We appreciate you. Please spread the word. We are on a mission to spread DeFi. That's our goal. That's what we're trying to do here. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Joe, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, those lists are fun. I mean, I'm trying to put together that long moonshot list, and this is the thing I would put a jeans on. Or a can.
Oh, that's good. Create a new topic for moonshot list.
I will, because when I said something about liquidity, it's not because I don't like it. Liquidity. Liquidity. It's just because I was looking at multi-billion-dollar market cap plays. For me, liquidity is either on my sweet DeFi thing or it's in my moonshot list at this point. So
cool.
Just to give you a heads up, I wasn't picking on you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Nah, it's all good. Say goodbye, Joe.
Bye, everyone.